Hello, welcome to our part two of our lesson. Since we have been finished discussing passive transport, we will move on to the next type of cell transport, which is active transport. These are just the same learning objectives from before, so I will skip this and proceed to our lesson or discussion. So again, for active transport, the movement of particles of molecules is against the concentration gradient. That is, it moves from an area of low concentration to an area of high concentration. So, quick recall lang tayo. Pag passive transport, movement is from high to low. On the other hand, for active transport, it is the opposite. So, it will move against its concentration gradient, so from low to high. And since it is moving against its concentration gradient, it will require energy. Kaya nga sa passive transport, wala tayong energy kasi it follows its concentration gradient. But since in active transport, it is going against that concentration gradient, it will require energy. So again, what is the energy currency of our cell? Okay, very good. So that would be ATP. ATP or triphosphate. Sorry. Yan. ATP. So ATP, yan. If you can recall, in which organelle is this produced? Okay, very good. So sa ating mitochondria. Okay. So how does ATP help? So to understand better how ATP helps in active transport, then we need to learn about its structure. So we have here the ATP structure. So the ATP or the adenosine triphosphate is composed of three phosphate groups. That's why it's called triphosphate because we have three phosphate groups, one, two, three. And then the adenosine comes from the bond of one adenine, which is a nitrogenous base, and also one ribose sugar. So together, bonded together, they form adenosine. So that's why it's called adenosine triphosphate. So the terminal phosphate group of adenosine triphosphate or ATP is a high energy bond. So this one. Ito yung terminal phosphate, sorry. Again, ito yung terminal phosphate group natin. And then, it is bonded to another phosphate group. So, the bond between these two phosphate groups, it is a high energy bond. High energy bond. Meaning, when that bond is broken, it releases large amounts of energy. So that is where the energy comes from sa ating ATP, dun sa bond between the terminal phosphate group and then yung gitnang phosphate group. Because it is again a high energy bond such that when you break that bond, it releases high amounts or large amounts of energy. Okay, so how do we break that bond between them? To break that bond, the ATP will undergo hydrolysis or ATP hydrolysis. So sa ATP hydrolysis, it will just use water molecule to break that bond between them to release that large amount of energy. So let's write that down. Energy. So aside from releasing large amounts of energy, it will also produce products. Since hydrolysis, it is a chemical reaction. So it will produce two products. So the first one is ADP, and the second one is the phosphate group or an inorganic phosphate. So, balik tayo sa structure niya. Sabi natin, pag tinanggal natin yung bond between these two phosphate group, that means ang matitira na lang dun sa dating ATP natin would be ADP. Ayan, from having three phosphate groups, it will only have two phosphate groups. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya ay adenosine diphosphate. Because again, you removed one phosphate group, making the resulting structure of ATP have two phosphate groups. Okay? Ayan. So, ang tawag naman natin dun sa individual na phosphate group na natanggal dun sa ATP, we call that inorganic phosphate. Ayan. So, this inorganic phosphate or this phosphate group would attach or would bind to a transport protein. So this induces or this triggers the protein to change its shape so the solute can pass through. So again, recall nyo, ani ulit yung type of transport protein natin that can change its shape. Okay, very good. So that would be carrier proteins. So carrier proteins, they are the type of transport proteins that is mostly used for active transport because they can move solutes against their concentration gradients. Ayan. So it makes sense kasi they can change their shape to accommodate that solute, di ba? And to change kung saan sila o-open. So, meron silang mechanism to close and open sa either side. On the other hand, sa channel protein, para lang siyang palaging bukas unless gated siya. Diba? Yan. So, again, ito yung itsura ng channel proteins. Ito naman sa carrier proteins. Yan. So, ayan, para lang makita nyo ulit yung difference nila. Yan. So, channel protein yung green, carrier protein yung red. Okay. So again, quick comparison tayo. For passive transport such as diffusion and osmosis, it does not require energy because the movement or the diffusion of molecules is from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. On the other hand, for active transport, it is the opposite. The molecules diffuse from an area of low concentration to an area of high concentration. That's why they require energy or ATP from the cell. Okay, so now that we know the difference between active and passive transport, and we know how ATP provides energy for active transport, then let's move on to the different types of active transport. The first type of active transport is the protein pumps. And an example of protein pumps in the body is the sodium potassium pump. Okay, so before we proceed with the sodium potassium pump, it is imperative that you know that our cells, they have voltages across the cell membrane. So that voltage across the plasma or the cell membrane, it is called the membrane potential. So this happens because the inside of the cell has a negative charge relative to the outside of the cell. Okay? So in other words, yung inside ng cell natin, it is negative compared to the outside of the cell, which is positive. So that happens because of an unequal distribution of ions sa ating cell, okay? Or an unequal distribution of cations and anions. So again, if you can recall, cations, they are molecules with positive charge, and ions, they have negative charge. So because there is more anions inside the cell than there is outside, so that means yung inside the cell, it is more negative compared to the outside. Okay? Yeah. So the cell membrane potential or the cell membrane resting potential, it has something to do with the sodium potassium pump. Okay. Because the sodium potassium pump, it only transports sodium and potassium ions. Okay? So potassium ions in animal cells has a greater concentration inside the cell than the outside. On the other hand, sa sodium ions naman, mas mataas yung concentration nila outside than inside the cell. So, that means, kung ito yung cell membrane natin, tas ito yung outside, tas ito yung inside, sabi dito, potassium ions has a greater concentration inside the cell. And then outside, ang may mas mataas na concentration ay yung ating sodium ions. So that means, baliktad lang yung concentration nila pagdating sa labas or loob. Sorry, laglag. Okay, baliktad lang yung concentration nila. So outside the cell, mababa naman yung concentration ng potassium ions, tas inside the cell, ang mababa yung concentration ay yung sodium ions. Now, kung passive transport to, ang movement for example, yung movement ng sodium ions natin would be from outside to inside of the cell, di ba? Kasi nga, passive transport, it will move from an area of high to low concentration. But since we are talking about active transport, it will do the opposite. So, instead of pumping in sodium ions sa ating cell, it will pump out those sodium ions. Ma'am, bakit po baliktad yung kanilang movement? Because the cell needs to maintain this concentration gradient, or the cell needs to maintain a high concentration of sodium ions outside and a high concentration of potassium ions inside. Okay? So, need nilang i-maintain tong high concentration na to. Kaya nagpa-pump sila sa opposite direction than the concentration gradient. Okay? Yan. So, how do they maintain that concentration, that high concentration of sodium and potassium ions? Okay, so first, it will involve transport proteins, more specifically carrier proteins. So, yung carrier protein natin for sodium potassium pump, they are called sodium potassium pump. Okay? Yun yung name nila ng carrier protein na to, ng color blue na yan. Ang tawag sa kanya, sodium potassium pump. So, when the sodium potassium pump has this shape, na nakapabuka siya paloob ng ating cell, ayan, it has high affinity for sodium ions. Okay? Again, when the carrier protein has this shape, it has high affinity for sodium ions. Meaning, ang gusto niya lang na naka-attach sa kanya ay sodium ions. Okay? Hindi niya papayagang mag-attach sa kanya yung potassium ions. And since sodium ions lang nga yung kaya mag-bind sa kanya, tas nakabuka siya papunta sa ating cytoplasm, so that means cytoplasmic sodium ions will bind to our carrier protein. So once mag-bind na siya sa carrier protein natin, this will stimulate phosphorylation by a kinase using ATP. So recall sa ATP natin, kapag nag-undergo siya ng hydrolysis, it will produce two products. One is ADP or adenosine diphosphate, and the other one is a phosphate group. So this terminal phosphate group will attach to that carrier protein to change or to trigger the change in its shape. Okay? So, sa hydrolysis, magre-release din yun ng large amount of energy that would be used for our active transport. Okay? So, once mag-bind na, again, yung tatlong sodium ions sa ating carrier protein, mag-undergo ng phosphorylation by a kinase, yung ating carrier protein and ATP. Kaya mag-change na yung shape ng ating carrier protein. So dahil may naka-attach na sa kanyang phosphate group from its original shape na ganyan, magiging ganito na yung shape niya. Babaliktad na yung buka niya. And kapag ganito yung shape ng ating carrier protein, it has low affinity for sodium ions. Meaning, it doesn't like sodium ions anymore. At dahil ayaw niya na sa sodium ions, it will release those sodium ions to the extracellular fluid or to the outside of our cell. Okay? And this shape has high affinity for potassium ions. Okay? Again, kapag pabuka palabas yung shape ng ating carrier protein, it has low affinity for for sodium ions and high affinity for potassium ions. So that means potassium ions will bind to this carrier protein. So that binding or that attachment of carrier protein will trigger the release of the phosphate group. So pag naramdaman niya ng, ay hindi na sodium ions yung nakabind sa carrier protein na to, aalis na siya. Alis na yung phosphate group natin. Kasi ang nakabind na dun sa carrier protein ay potassium ions. So, kapag umalis na siya, magiging inorganic phosphate na siya, tapos gagamitin lang ulit siya to create ATP. Ayan. So, dahil wala na yung phosphate group na nagpapa-change ng shape ng ating carrier protein, that means it will just go back to its initial or original shape. So, babalik na siya sa dati niyang shape. So, dahil sabi natin yung ganitong shape, it has high affinity for sodium ions. That means it has low affinity for potassium ions. And because it has low affinity for potassium ions, it will release those potassium ions inside the cell. So, once ma-release niya na yung potassium ions, the cycle will just repeat again such that sodium ions, cytoplasmic sodium ions, will just again attach to the carrier protein. So, paulit-ulit lang siya na ganun. So, this mechanism or this process, this kind of transport, maintains that high concentration of potassium ions inside the cell and a high concentration of sodium ions outside the cell. If you can notice, ilan kaya yung sodium ions yung napapump out natin or na-move out of the cell for every potassium ions that are moved in sa cell. So, that is 3 sodium ions for every 2 potassium ions. Okay. So, this happens because it stores energy as a voltage. Yan, because meron tayong net transfer of one positive charge outside the cell, di ba? Nag-lose tayo ng nag-lose tayo ng one positive charge sa inside ng cell at nag-gain tayo ng one positive charge outside the cell. Since tatlo nga yung nilabas nating positive charge. Tas dalawa lang yung ibinalik natin inside the cell. So there would be a net transfer of one positive charge outside the cell, which will lead to a storage of energy as a voltage. So that storage of energy as a voltage is important for the excitation of neurons para nakakapag-respond yung neurons natin sa different stimuli and nakakapag-generate siya ng action potentials. Yan. So, this helps maintain the cell membrane resting potential. In other words, kasi nga, just like what we discussed earlier, the negative of the cell is typically, the inside of the cell is typically negative relative to the outside. Meron tayong potential difference across the membrane when it is not actively transmitting signal. So, yun yung tinatawag nating cell membrane resting potential. And meron din tayong tinatawag na K+ leak channels or potassium ion leak channels. So, the potassium ion leak channels help stabilize the cell membrane resting potential. Okay? So, yung pump natin, or yung sodium-potassium pump natin, its main purpose is to maintain the gradient of sodium and potassium ions. And then, to maintain the negative charge inside the cell, we have potassium ion leak channels. Okay? So, yung potassium ion leak channels, from the name itself, it leaks out potassium ions. Kasi nga, gustong movement ng ating potassium ions is from inside to outside dahil nga mas mataas yung concentration niya inside to outside. So, para ma-maintain yung negative charge inside the cell, mag-leak lang yung potassium ion leak channels natin ng extra potassium ions outside the cell. Tapos para hindi naman masobrahan sa pag-leak ng potassium ions, meron tayo nung sodium potassium pump that pumps in potassium ions pabalik sa ating cell. Okay? So, para lang siyang, kunwari, meron kang lobo, tas yung lobo mo may butas. So, syempre, sa butas na yun, maglalabas yon or mag-leak yun ng air from our balloon, di ba? But if you attach that balloon to a pump, tapos nag-pump ka nag-pump ng air, then parang equal lang yung loss mo. Kasi yung losses and gain mo, di ba? Kasi yung air, even though meron kang nagli-leak na air dun sa butas na balloon, nagpa-pump ka pa rin naman ng air papasok dun sa balloon natin. So, hindi siya completely nagde-deflate. So, parang ganun lang din yung sodium-potassium pump, tsaka potassium ion leak channels natin. Yan. So, again, why do you think the potassium ion leak channels are necessary to maintain resting potential? So, to keep the negative charge in the inside of our cell. So next type of active transport, we have exocytosis. Okay? So exo meaning outside. Yan. Exo meaning outside. So that gives us a clue on the final destination of our molecule. So the final destination would be outside of the cell. So exocytosis is when the cell secretes certain molecules by the fusion of vesicles with the plasma membrane and extruding its contents to the surrounding environment. So dahil nga it's called exocytosis, the cell will just excrete molecules or transport molecules outside our cell. Okay? So, palabas ng cell yung movement ng ating molecule. So, how does that happen? Okay, since we are coming from the inside of our cell, it will involve an organelle, which is the Golgi apparatus or the Golgi body. Again, recall tayo. What is the purpose or function of the Golgi body? Okay, very good. So, the purpose or function of the Golgi body is to sort proteins as well as to transport them outside our cell. Okay? So sa Golgi body natin, we have what we call the vesicles, if you can still recall. These vesicles, they contain secretory proteins. So these vesicles, magde-detach lang sila sa Golgi body or Golgi apparatus natin, and then they will move or they will travel to the plasma or the cell membrane. So, they do so through the microtubule. So, yung microtubule, yung daan nila, tas yung final destination nila ay yung ating cell membrane. So, once it reaches the cell membrane, the vesicle will bind to the cell membrane, and during this fusion, magre-release din siya ng proteins natin outside the cell. Okay? So again, from the Golgi apparatus, the vesicle that contains the secretory proteins will go to the plasma membrane, fuse with it, and then release the proteins outside the cell. And once it released all its contents or lahat ng proteins na release niya na outside the cell, the vesicle will not go back to the Golgi apparatus. Instead, it will just be absorbed by the plasma membrane and become a part of it. So, ganun lang yung ating exocytosis. Yan. So, parang yung GIF natin dito, yan, manggagaling siya sa loob. So, that's the vesicle that contains the secretory proteins. So, it will travel through the cytoplasm to the cell membrane. And once it reaches the cell membrane, it will fuse with the cell membrane to release those proteins outside the cell. So once ma-release niya na, it will just be absorbed by the cell membrane. Okay. So next and last type of active transport, we have endocytosis. If exo means outside, that means endo means inside. Yan. Endocytosis is just the opposite of exocytosis. So, kung opposite siya ng exocytosis, that means yung final destination ng molecules natin or ng particles natin is papasok ng ating cell. So, in endocytosis, it is defined as the ingestion of material by cells. And we have three types. which are phagocytosis, spinocytosis, and receptor-mediated endocytosis. Yan. So again, kung sa exocytosis, secretion of materials, sa endocytosis, ingestion of materials. First type of endocytosis, we have phagocytosis. Phagocytosis is also known as cellular eating. Kaya siya tinatawag na cellular eating because the cell literally ingests solid particle. Okay? Solid particle. So how does it do phagocytosis? So an area of a plasma membrane forms a pocket and engulfs a particle. So for example, ito yung plasma membrane natin. So a small area will undergo invagination. Pag sinabi natin invagination, the cell membrane will just fold inward. So it will fold inward. Yan. So once it folds inward, it will engulf a solid particle. Ayan, for example, meron na siyang na-engulf na solid particle. And then, kapag may solid particle na dun sa pocket, it will just deepen. Yung pocket natin, it will deepen until it detaches from the cell membrane. Yan. So, di-deepen lang siya until mahiwalay na siya dun sa ating cell membrane. So once mahiwalay na siya doon sa cell membrane, yung pocket natin, it would be called a food vacuole. Okay? So ang tawag na sa kanya, instead of being called a pocket, it would be called a food vacuole. Ayan. So this food vacuole, it will detach from the cell surface and then move to the cytoplasm to fuse with the lysosome. So, ayan daw. Ibig sabihin, kapag food vacuole na siya, detach lang siya dito sa surface ng ating cell, tapos magta-travel siya through the cytoplasm until it reaches the lysosome. Once it reaches the lysosome, it will fuse with the lysosome so that the lysosomal enzymes can digest the solid particle or can break down the solid particle enclosed dun sa ating food vacuole. Because if you can recall, yung purpose ng lysosome natin is for digestion or for breaking down large molecules. Okay? Yan. So here is an example of phagocytosis. Here we have an amoeba engulfing a paramecium. So yung paramecium, yun yung magalaw na tinatrap sa loob. Tapos yung amoeba, siya yung malaking organism na nangtatrap. So if you can see, parang yung amoeba natin nag-extend, may ina-extend siya. Yan. So yung ina-extend niya, ang tawag natin doon ay ang pseudopodium. Yan. So, mukha siyang arm, di ba, na nag-extend and tinatrap yung paramecium. We call that pseudopodium. So, phagocytosis is actually a mechanism for unicellular organisms to hunt down and to eat food. Ayan. Kasi nga, they have limited locomotion or movement. So, that is their way of eating. Ayan. Phagocytosis then is also what our white blood cells or our immune cells use to capture bacteria or foreign cells sa ating body. So, it is also used for defense aside from eating. Yan. So, next type of endocytosis, we have pinocytosis or also known as cellular drinking. So, kung yung phagocytosis means eating, sa pinocytosis naman, yung cell natin ay nagdi-drink. So, bakit siya nagdi-drink or umiinom? Because instead of engulfing or ingesting a solid particle, the cell will ingest extracellular fluid. Okay? So this extracellular fluid will contain solutes, different kinds of solutes, right? Ayan. So, kung ano lang yung mapasamang solute dun sa na-engulf na extracellular fluid ng cell natin, yun lang yung madadigest niya. So, it has the same mechanism as phagocytosis. So, again, the cell membrane will just fold inward or undergo invagination. And then, kapag may pocket na siya, the extracellular fluid will just go in there sa pocket na yon, and that extracellular fluid will contain different kinds of solutes. So, again, that pocket will just deepen until it is pinched off the cell membrane, creating a pinocytic vesicle. So once magdetach na yung pinocytic vesicle natin, again, it will just travel through the cytoplasm to the lysosome so that it can fuse with the lysosome, and the enzymes in the lysosome can digest the solutes or the contents of the extracellular fluid. Yeah. So here is a video or EGIF of pinocytosis. So if you can see, ayan, meron tayong extracellular fluid. Ayan, extracellular fluid. And then sa extracellular fluid natin, we have solutes. Ayan, yung mga red dots. So, yung cell membrane natin, ayan, black na yan, it will undergo invagination or it will fold inward. Yan. So, once it folds inward, may papasok na extracellular fluid that contains solutes. And kung ano mapapasamang solute dun sa extracellular fluid na na-engulf ng ating pocket, yun lang yung madadigest ng cell. So, hindi siya makakapamili kung ano yung madadigest niyang solute kapag pinocytosis. So, again, that pocket will just depend. Yan. So, that pocket will just deepen until it forms a pinocytic vesicle. Yan, hindi ko siya mahuli. Anyway, it will just deepen until it pinches off from the cell membrane and creates a pinocytic vesicle. So, this pinocytic vesicle will just travel through the cytoplasm to the lysosome so that the lysosome can digest its contents. Again, difference of phagocytosis and pinocytosis. In phagocytosis, the cell ingests solid material or solid particle. In pinocytosis, it digests extracellular fluid with solutes. Okay, so last type of endocytosis, we have receptor-mediated endocytosis. So it's called receptor-mediated because it it involves the presence of receptor proteins. So these receptor proteins, they have what we call receptor sites. So for example, ayan yung receptor proteins. Tas ito yung receptor site. Okay. So these receptor proteins, they are exposed to the extracellular fluid, and only specific solutes can bind to these receptors. So, di ba, sabi natin marami tayong different types of solutes sa ating extracellular fluid. So, the presence of receptor proteins with receptor sites means that only specific solutes can bind to those receptors, and we call those specific solutes ligands. So kapag may nakabind ng specific solutes or ligands sa ating receptors, this will stimulate invagination of coated peats. Okay? So coated peat, these are just vesicles lang din, but they are coated with proteins. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya ay coated peats. So this coated peat will form a vesicle that contains the ligands. Tapos, again, it will just travel through the cytoplasm towards the lysosome so that the lysosome can digest or break down the large solutes. So to help you visualize receptor-mediated endocytosis, here's a short GIF. Ayan. So if you can notice, meron tayong different types of solutes, extracellular fluid. Meron tayo nitong green na triangle, tapos pink na solute. Pink na circle na solute. So, here we have our receptor proteins, ayan mga purple, that have receptor sites. So, as you can see, magta-try na mag-bind yung mga pink natin. Magta-try silang mag-bind, ayan, lalapit sila, but they can't bind dito sa ating receptor proteins because, again, the receptor proteins only allow specific solutes to bind with them. So, yung ligand natin for this case ay yung triangle na solutes. So, once nag-bind na itong ligands natin sa receptor proteins, it will trigger the invagination or the folding inward of all cell membranes. So, you can see, yan, unti-unti siyang lumulubog. So once lumubog siya, completely mag-deepen, it will form a vesicle coated with proteins. Okay? So, it will detach sa ating cell surface and then travel through the cytoplasm papunta sa lysosome. Okay. So, ayun lang yung process ng ating receptor-mediated endocytosis. Okay. Clear? I hope that's clear because that ends our lesson for active transport. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to message me in Teams. Bye-bye.